In this video, we're going to be talking about, okay, now that you have your check with Navy Federal in the auto loan pre-approved process and you're going to the dealership, now what? I got a question on my last video asking me, okay, do I have any thoughts on when you go to the dealership? So that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, I'm Tasha from the Major Change Group, where we believe small changes can create big results. And if this is your first time on the channel, welcome. We talk about credit, budgeting, and student loans. Well, I've done about 4 videos or so on my experience with the auto loan pre-approved process with Navy Federal. And you know what? In those videos, I usually gloss over a little bit my experience at the dealership. Now, I know in one of my videos, I said that when I went to the dealership, I had test drove like a couple of cars, and then once I was done and I kind of knew what I was going to do, that's when I told them about the check. But as I thought about this question a little bit more, I said, you know what? Why don't I talk about the experience a little bit more and my thought process about the check? Now, I would say the main thing to think about when you have the check is, one, I think you have the power. I think you have the power. Now, when you go to the dealership, of course, they're going to want you to do the financing through them because, they're going to say, oh, I can give you more deals and a lower price when you actually do the financing through them. But like I said, when I got my car in October of 2020, I got the check from Navy Federal for $20,000 and my interest rate is 2.19% with a 60-month loan. Now, if I would have gotten financing through the dealership, I don't think my loan would have been nowhere near what my interest rate wouldn't have been 2.19%. So I went on Google and I said, okay, Google, if I have a 681 credit score, what would be my auto loan interest rate? And I want to say it said like 6.76. So you have 2.19 versus 6.76. Like, that is a big difference. And if you go to the Loan You Later, y'all, I love the Loan You Later app, and you look at the difference. So my monthly note with 2.19 for 60 months is $357.95. And then with the loan at 60 months for 6.76 interest, I want to say it's like $398. So it's not a huge difference, but when you get to interest paid over time, it will really impact you. And I know for myself, I really wanted my loan to be no more than $350, and see, that would make it almost $400. So for me, it does make a big difference, and that would have been over my budget. But I say, don't necessarily let them talk you into it. Like, you have the check, you have the power, and you can make the decision. Because like when I went, I would say for me, my dealer was pretty chill about it. I told him that I had the check, and he really didn't try to force me either way. And when I was actually doing the negotiating and the other guy came in and we were negotiating, he did tell me, because I wanted my car to be $20,000 on a dot. I want to say my car was about $26,000, and I did have a trade-in, and they gave me $5,500 for my trade-in. And I think they maybe gave me a little bit more, and that's what it took it down to $20,000 and like $400. But you'll have to check out my other video where I was talking about that. And he did say that maybe he can get me under a little bit if I did the financing. But I knew, with my credit score, that I didn't think it would be lower than what I was getting with the credit union. Now, my sister, on the other hand, my sister had applied with Navy Federal and she became a member, and then the same day she had applied for the pre-approved process. And so, but see, I live in Nashville, Tennessee, and I want to say, because I got a Hyundai Tucson, so in Nashville, I think we have maybe like 4 or 5 Hyundai dealerships. So, for me, I have a little bit more leverage because I can say, okay, this is what I want. Can you get me in this? And if they can't get me, the likelihood of me being able to go to another dealership is really highly. And plus, the dealership that I was at had more Hyundai Tucson, so most of the time you can get a good deal. And I had went in October, so you gotta think there are a lot of different factors. Now going back to my sister, she lives in upstate New York, and where she was at, she was gonna get a Hyundai Santa Fe, but see, she was gonna get one that was like fully loaded, and they only had one at the dealership that she was at that was really what she wanted. And I want to say it was maybe 2 or 3 Hyundai dealerships in her area, and she was even gonna put cash down on hers, but they wasn't really being flexible because they said that they had just got this car in, and so they ended up letting her walk out without a deal. Compared to me, when I went, I was just like, okay, this is what I want. And then I left, and then I was just like, okay, they're gonna call me back, because I want to say when I had test drove it the first time, they maybe had me at like 21 or something like that, but I was just like, that's not what I want. Plus I wanted the 2021. I wanted it brand new. I didn't want any miles on it. And so I left, and then I said they're gonna call me back because they knew that I had a check, and they didn't want to let the money just go. And so I said they were going to call me back, and they eventually, in a couple of days, they did call me back, and I went up there and I was able to get it at what I wanted to get it at. Unlike my sister, she wasn't. And so like for me, I tell everybody, you know, whatever you want, I feel like you should get, but you have to be able and be willing to walk away from it. So you know, that's something that you're going to have to look into. It's a lot of different factors. What area you're in, how many cars of the one that you want do the dealership have, what time of year is it. So those are some things that you can consider. But next, what I would say is also know what you're looking for, know how much around it is. And then if you're going to be trading in a car, kind of know how much your trade-in is for. Now I know for myself, my trade-in was, they gave me a little bit more than I expected, and but I feel like I really got what I wanted, because for me, I think with having the check, it really, it helped me to stay on budget. For me, that was the main thing. Getting the check helped me to stay on budget, because even before the process started, I went on the Loan You Later app, and I was just like, okay, here is kind of where I want my car note to be, about $350. But at the time, I didn't know what my interest rate was going to be. So I kind of played around with that. And then that's how I came up with the $20,000. And then I knew going on to the Navy Federal, and they have this chart to where you can see, okay, how many months do you want the car? And that kind of takes me even back to the dealership. Like, they might want you to finance it through them, and then they'll give you more deals, and your interest rate might be higher than, let's say, Navy Federal or any other credit union, but then they might try to put you on higher months. And for myself, I didn't want to do no 84 or 96 months or even 72 months. I wanted to do the 60 months. So those are some things that you have to think about when you go to the dealership as well. And what you can always do, some of the times they'll say, okay, do you know what your credit score is? If you do, maybe we can, run the numbers. And because that's what they did for my sister. They said, okay, if your credit score is around this is what we think your interest rate would be. And maybe they'll be able to run the numbers. But then another dealership that she went to, they wanted to run her credit, and she didn't want that. And I would say, I don't want to run my credit. If you can maybe give me an estimate, then that would work. Let me know in the comments, how was your experience with taking a check to the dealership? Did you have a good experience, a bad experience? what kind of tips and tricks do you have for somebody that might be watching this video, and maybe they can read your comment. But overall, for myself, I definitely think that I had a good experience. And I would say this: before you even go to the dealership, once you get the check, write down what it is you want. What do you envision yourself really wanting and walking away with the dealership? And when you get there, that's what you go for. You have the power. Don't let the dealership, push you around and take you anywhere else. I think that's for me, the check is the power, and that really gives you leverage to be able to kind of negotiate with what you want to get and not really go over. So that's what I really liked about the check. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. I hope that this has been helpful to you. Please like, subscribe, share with a friend, and turn your notification bell on so you will be the first to be notified when new content comes out. And I thank you so much for watching. Until next time. It's not a game, it's a